Who actually shaped modern art? Like, if I asked you right now to just close your eyes and picture the absolute pioneers of the modern art movement, whose faces pop into your head? For decades, the story we've been told has been, well, incredibly specific. But today, we're diving deep into the archives to completely challenge what we thought we knew about art history.
To really get a sense of this, let's look at one of the most foundational art history books ever published, E.H. Gombrich's The Story of Art. This thing came out in 1950, and it's basically been the Bible for educating generations of art students. But listen to this comparison because it is genuinely staggering. In the massive, definitive English and French editions of this textbook, there are exactly 0 women mentioned. 0. And the German edition, just 1. So this isn't just a minor oversight, right? It's a massive, systemic omission that has literally shaped how we view the entire history of art.
So welcome to The Explainer. Today we're tackling The Great Blind Spot, rediscovering modern art. We are going to dig right into the source material to uncover the incredible female masters who were systematically erased from the timeline. And we'll also be using a really fascinating analytical tool from Serenade magazine to help us properly evaluate these newly rediscovered works. Let's jump in.
Section 1. The Modern Art Revolution and Throwing Aside Tradition.
Now, to truly understand what was lost, we first got to understand the era itself. Modern art covers roughly the 1860s to the 1970s, and this was an era totally defined by bold, wild experimentation. Artists were basically throwing aside traditional narrative arts and racing toward abstraction. And it moved incredibly fast. In the 1860s, you've got the Impressionists capturing natural light. Boom, by 1905, Fauvism explodes in Paris with these crazy, multicolored, expressive landscapes. Then, Cubism hits in the 1910s, and by the 1950s, we're fully into abstract expressionism. Now, traditionally, the credit for this rapid-fire evolution, it's been handed almost exclusively to guys, men like Manet, Matisse, and Picasso.
Which brings us to Section 2, The Great Forgotten Ones and the Systemic Erasure.
See, while that artistic revolution was moving at absolute lightning speed, institutional recognition for women was, well, it was agonizingly slow, if it moved at all. The Aware Archives of Women Artists points out that major global institutions and the financial art market itself systematically ignored female pioneers until very, very recently. We're talking about the heavy hitters here. The Museum of Modern Art in New York, the Centre Georges Pompidou in Paris, the Whitney. Because the art market was so incredibly late to take notice, a lot of these women spent their entire lives producing absolutely groundbreaking work without even a fraction of the financial or institutional support that their male contemporaries were getting.
Section 3. How to look at art, and a new way to look.
Okay, so how do we actually begin to appreciate the true depth of what these women created now that their work is finally seeing the light of day? Well, we can use this awesome structured framework from Serenade magazine. It's a 4-step process, and it requires a bit more than just a quick glance. Step 1 is description. That's just gathering objective, factual info, title, date, colors. No guessing meaning yet. Then Step 2, analysis. This is where we examine techniques. How are light and shadow being used? How is it composed? Step 3 is interpretation, uncovering the themes, the messages, the real emotional punch of the piece. And finally, Step 4, evaluation. That's forming your own informed, personal response about how innovative and culturally significant the artwork actually is.
That interpretation step, it is absolutely fascinating, because as Serenade magazine points out, art does not exist in a vacuum. It is always shaped by the artist's life experiences, their socio-political climate, and historical events. And that context becomes absolutely critical when we're interpreting the work of female modernists. You really can't separate their bold artistic choices from the societal structures that were actively shutting them out. Understanding that specific struggle just adds these profound, incredible layers of meaning to their canvases.
Section 4, rediscovering the pioneers and applying the lens. Let's take that exact analytical framework and apply it to the wildly delayed but very real success stories of some of the most brilliant female minds in modern art. The numbers from the Aware Archives are just mind-blowing. Take Louise Bourgeois, a major French-American artist. She was 70 years old when she finally got her first retrospective at the MoMA in 1981. Nil Yalter, an absolute pioneer of video art, had to wait until 2016. She was 78. And Carmen Herrera, an incredible abstract painter and sculptor, she achieved a massive retrospective at the Whitney in 2016 when she was 101 years old. Literally 101.
Let's actually stay on Carmen Herrera for just a second. 89. That is the age Carmen Herrera was in 2004, when she sold her very first painting. I mean, think about that. She had been producing art for decades,
But it took until she was nearly 90 years old for the financial art market to finally wake up and recognize her brilliance. Just imagine the sheer dedication, the passion it takes to create purely for the sake of the art, staring down almost a century of institutional silence. It's incredible.
And then, of course, there are the artists who didn't even live to see their own recognition. Take the unbelievable story of Hilma af Klint. She was a true pioneer of abstraction. But when she died in 1944, her will actually stipulated that her work had to remain a secret for at least 20 years. It's like she knew the world simply wasn't ready for it yet, and it wasn't until 1986, 42 years after her death, that she was finally rediscovered in a Los Angeles exhibition. She didn't even get her first major retrospective in Stockholm until 2008. Her work literally sat waiting for over 6 decades after she died before it was fully celebrated.
Section 5. Reevaluating art history and reshaping the canon.
So applying these steps of art analysis, it's not just some dry academic exercise, it's a vital necessary tool for correcting the historical record. The power of this structured analysis is that it takes us from being passive observers to active participants. By describing, analyzing, interpreting, and evaluating, we uncover all these hidden historical contexts. We challenge the societal norms, the exact same norms that kept women completely out of Gombrich's textbook, and we finally get to evaluate the staggering originality of artists who are working completely in the shadows. The next time you find yourself standing in front of a canvas, really try using these steps.
And I want to leave you with this one provocative thought. If institutions and textbooks completely missed pioneers like Hilma af Klint and Carmen Herrera for nearly a century, what other geniuses are we currently ignoring? The art canon isn't fixed. It's just waiting for you to look a little closer. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer today, and remember to keep questioning what's inside the frame and exactly who was left out of it.